What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to Down to the Wire. I'm your host, Brian Costa, and tonight we have got a great episode in store for you. We're coming to you again live from the Koffler Center on a frigid Friday night here at Bryant University. I'm going to tell you guys, it is a cold one right now. So, I'm frankly glad I'm in the studio just in general, but I'm glad to be providing you guys some sports news, later on this week. So, we're going to be talking about a lot today, from Tom Brady's second retirement to Sean Payton going to the Denver Broncos, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Philadelphia Eagles going to the Super Bowl. Going to be talking about a lot of sports news today, but first, I want to welcome on today's guest. He's also a former podcaster himself. He works with me in Brand Athletics as a fellow cameraman, and he's a good friend. His name is Ethan Moulder. Ethan, welcome to the show.
What's up, everybody? Good to be here. Thank you for inviting me to the pod. I'm excited.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad to have you on the show. First of all, kind of give us a little bit of background about yourself and kind of just like your sports knowledge.
Yeah, so I actually, like you said, I had a sports podcast myself, the Set Podcast. I ran it for about a year. After it was freshman year of college, we did it every single week.
Yeah.
So that was a fun experience. And I mean, I've just been around sports my whole life. I run like every single fantasy league I ever did. We even play fantasy baseball, fantasy hockey, all that. So I don't know, sports has been just my thing. And obviously like Brian said, I work with athletics too. So I'm around it all year round. So it's good stuff.
Yeah. So Ethan, first of all, we've got a lot of stuff to kind of break down today. Obviously, first of all, Tom Brady, greatest quarterback of all time, announces his retirement for the second time. He says this time it's for good, but I got to tell you, man, I'm still wondering whether that's legit or not. Because I'll tell you what, it is exactly 1 year from the day that he said he was going to retire the first time. And I remember, where I was in my dorm room up in Newport, and everyone's freaking out. And, the reason a lot of people were freaking out that day to begin with is because there was a crazy snowstorm going on that day. Like, everyone was out, like, and about, like, trying to, figure out what was going on. Classes were canceled. I think I went skiing around campus at one point. I put on my skis, went down the hill behind the unistructure, and it was a crazy day. But then I got the tweet that Tom Brady's retiring. And immediately myself, Adam Wright and the Fumblerooski podcast, a bunch of other podcasters, we came together. It was like 8 of us in a Zoom call, and we were going through just like breaking down all of it. And, it was a pretty solid homage to Brady in the end. But then we kind of flip the bird there. And it's like, nah, man, I'm coming back for another season. And it's like, God damn it, man. I poured my heart out to you. And now you're going to do this to me. So I don't know. I obviously, in all seriousness, though, Tom Brady, 7-time Super Bowl champ, 3-time MVP, 5-time Super Bowl MVP. He's the greatest of all time. It's not debatable at this point. He's broken every record that, a quarterback really can break at this point. And, the longevity speaks for itself. When you saw the news, Ethan, how did you react?
I mean, honestly, it's crazy when I saw the fact that it was the same date. Like, that was crazy to me. I remember last year, Adam Schefter got like so much fire because he like tweeted out the wrong thing. We're like, no, he's not retiring. And then he actually did. But I don't know. It was weird this time because the first time, I was emotional and everything. I was like, man, like my like childhood hero who I watched because I was a Pats fan, and like this guy's finally gone from the league. So I don't know. I poured my heart out then, and then this time it was like, I don't know. It wasn't the same. And like I still feel weird about him retiring. Like, I think he should have done it the second he won that Bucs Super Bowl, retired right then and there. That would have been the perfect walk-off. I mean, you go to another team and you show that it's not just Belichick, it's not just the Patriots, that you've been doing this yourself. And I thought that was his huge thing. And he's like, well, I'm going to keep playing. And now he's lost like his wife. Like, I don't know. A lot of bad things happened.
Yeah, so. Man. I really feel like if not after that first Super Bowl that he won with or not that first Super Bowl, if not after that Super Bowl he won with the Bucs, last year he should have just stayed retired.
Last year,
he shouldn't have come back. I mean, he had a great game. That Rams game, you're down 27-3, very reminiscent of the Super Bowl. In typical Brady fashion, he leads you back, and obviously they tie the game and they end up losing in overtime when Stafford connects with Kupp, and the Rams finish their miracle run. So I thought that could have been a very, great way to bookend the end of his career and say, you know what, man, I tried to, he was Tom Brady till the end. And frankly, even this season, he was still showing signs that he was able to go out there and compete. But the team this year, the Bucs really struggled. They went 8-9. It's the first time Brady's ever had a losing record in his entire career.
Yep.
And even with that, people were still favoring the Bucs against the Cowboys in that playoff game, myself included. I was like, you know what? I don't really believe in Dallas here. I think that the Bucs are going to go in. I think they're going to take care of business. And while Brett Maher was going to possibly let that happen, the rest of the Cowboys team didn't, even make it a fair fight. They just completely pounded the Bucs that game. So it was a lot.
And that's when you think it's like, all right, maybe it's time to hang up the cleats. I mean, Tom Brady never lost to the Cowboys before ever in his career.
No.
Until then. He never lost to the Falcons either. He lost like week 17 or something to them. So he was just kind of like, obviously he was chasing some records still and like just keep padding the stats, but there's some records that like, it just like, I don't know, like it's weird for players and stuff like when to retire because like you have your great peak and stuff, you have your prime, and then it's like when you start going downhill, like when's the right time to retire because they don't really want to give up the game, and it's like I don't know when do you retire. So I feel like Tom Brady went through that.
Were you surprised by the decision?
I honestly was. I thought he was gonna leave the Bucs, and I thought he was gonna play with San Fran. San Fran was the perfect spot. He grew up in San Fran. Everybody's been rumoring that for years now, and I thought it was finally the time. He was going to step in. I mean, the Niners are loaded.
Oh, yeah.
All they need is a QB, and that's a Super Bowl team easily. So, I don't know. I was surprised, and, like, it was such a short message to it. It feels weird. It feels kind of weird.
No, it definitely feels weird. And but here's the thing, Ethan. Like, what's crazy about this whole thing is that Tom Brady is going to be 46 years old this August. He's going to be 46. I mean, the fact that it wasn't immediately just an automatic conclusion that this guy was going to retire, it just is really a testament to how great he was. I mean, like 40 is usually like, that's the benchmark. All right. Once a guy hits 40, they're done.
Even before that.
Yeah. Too. Like, a lot of guys, like they'll call it quits at like 35, 36. I mean, I think Troy Aikman retired at like 32 possibly or 34. I mean,
for quarterbacks, the age is obviously up there, but yeah, I mean, you're right. It is crazy to think that like, someone who's 46 and we're debating if like he still has like left in the game. Like that's insane.
I was seeing TikTok. I was on TikTok and it was like stuff about Tom Brady and like, them like wishing him well. And they were saying like, oh man, I think he could have played another 2 years.
Yeah.
He'd be 48 years old in another 2 years. That's
nuts.
That's insane. Yeah. Troy Aikman, 34, calls it a career.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, the fact that Tom Brady played an additional,
he said 12 years on him.
Yeah. He played 10 more years than Troy Aikman.
Insane.
That's crazy. So, I mean, like, it's really insane, what he was able to do, obviously, just obviously with New England winning the 6 Super Bowls and then going down to Tampa and proving that he still had it. Because I said this on the special when he retired the first time. I said, when Brady left New England, before he did anything in Tampa, before he took a snap down there, I wasn't really too sure of how much to really expect out of him because that 2019 season, even the season they won their last Super Bowl, that he hadn't looked like Tom Brady since that Chiefs AFC Championship game.
Yep.
He was pretty mediocre in the Super Bowl, obviously connected with Gronk on that sideline pass and, did a great job there. And then, that next season, like there really wasn't a game where I could say like, yeah, Tom Brady looked like Tom Brady. Like that defense carried them for most of the season. And, obviously you fell apart to the Titans in that wild card game. And I was like, all right, Tom Brady could go somewhere. And if he's surrounded by a loaded team, I think what I said is like the furthest I could probably see him going is like the NFC Championship game. That's where I was like, all right, he's going to go to the NFC Championship game. He'll face like a good competitor in that, and he'll probably get taken down. Lo and behold, he goes over there and just absolutely dominates. So I mean, he took care of Aaron Rodgers in that first NFC Championship game, and then even last year they had a good season as well. So it's unfortunate that it is coming to an end. I mean, I've never known an NFL without Tom Brady, and same with you. So I was born in 2001. He was drafted in the year 2000. So he's been in the league longer than I've been alive, which is crazy to think about. So, obviously it does, the situation with his wife and, the whole thing going on there is unfortunate. So, hopefully he can mend some of that stuff in retirement. I would like to see him maybe be able to do that, but regardless of it, he's got himself set up with Fox. He's going to be going to the broadcast booth, doing some of that stuff. So I'm intrigued to see what he could do there. I don't know if he's going to be like a Tony Romo type where he's like drawing up plays for and predicting what's going to happen next. I'm also, I don't know, like, do you think that he's going to adjust well to that broadcast booth?
Yeah, I used to talk about this, like watching football with anyone, like my dad and stuff.
Yeah.
That like you see Tony Romo and how he does it. Like when he first like his stardom, it was like, oh man, this guy's like calling plays. Like
Yeah.
we were always wondering, like, man, imagine Tom Brady. Like this guy knows everything. Like his IQ was talked about every single game. There was at least like 3-5 plays that was talked about all game. Like, yo, this Tom Brady IQ. So I really was interested to see like his like stance, like outside of actually playing and like watching in on the game. So I hope he takes that like Tony Romo type like personality. Because honestly, that would be really fun to watch, like, and listen to. But I don't know. We'll never know. But it's cool to see that Tom Brady's like still gonna be a part of the game. It'll still feel cool, but it's not gonna feel the same. I mean, it's a new era. Like we're going into the new era. I mean, the only one left is really Aaron Rodgers. We saw Big Ben, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck. All those guys are retired. So it's a new fun era though. You got Mahomes, you have Hurts now, Herbert, Burrow, all of them. So we got a lot of stuff in store, but it's sad to see.
No, I mean, here's the thing. I'm excited for this next era too, but like you said, the previous era of Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, as much as I hate to say it, the Mannings and the rest of them, it was a great time for football growing up. And, it is sad that it is coming to an end. So, I will say this, I'm a little bit weary as to how Brady's going to adjust to the broadcast booth, because some guys are able to, you take a guy like Tony Romo, he's adjusted fairly well. He's confident in the booth. He knows what he's doing. And it's not that I don't think Brady can do that, but one thing that you notice with a lot of star players, one guy I can think in particular is Michael Jordan. Think of him, he's incredible at what he was able to do in basketball. Is the greatest basketball player of all time. But the issue with him and, later on in his career, when he kind of got into ownership and different things like that, is that, he believes that, all right, here's the thing. He can't he tries to explain certain things to some players, and when they can't understand like how to do it, like it frustrates him, because he has a certain mindset of how to play the game and like be successful. And, that's only something unique to MJ. And when you can't, pass that on to another player, it's frustrating and it gets annoying. Another guy I know who had trouble on TV was Dan Marino. Yeah. A lot of people were like, oh, Dan Marino, he might have a shot to make it on TV because he was such a great quarterback. And then he went out and he had a meltdown on the set of ESPN. So it's really never a certainty. I think Brady could be fine. I'm excited for it, but it's never a certainty. It's sometimes those guys that, had good careers, but weren't like all-time greats. Like Rob Gronkowski, kind of shaky on Fox, but take a guy like Greg Olson, he's a natural in the booth.
He's really good.
Yeah. So it's kind of give and take. I'll be excited to see Brady when he does eventually get in the booth, but who knows what's going to happen there.
Yep. I
do have to ask though, in totality, with it all being, done for Brady now, if this is the case, do you think it was more, what part of the Patriots dynasty are you attributing, more to at this point? Are you giving more to Brady than Belichick, or, where are you leaning?
Yeah, it's a big debate, but honestly, I'm always going to go out and say it was both of them. Both of them needed each other, and I think it's going to be that way forever. I mean, Belichick, obviously in the recent years, he's had some like questionable, like, oh, like why is he doing this? But I mean, you look throughout his whole career, he's had just a great coaching mind, and like it was everybody would always talk about like these crazy plays that he would think of, their this IQ and everything. So they needed each other, and that's how it is a lot of times in sports. Like it's really not just one or the other; it's really both of them. And I mean, Tom Brady went out and he still won a Super Bowl. That roster was loaded, and I mean the coaching didn't even matter. Like Bruce Arians, he's not really that good of a coach. I mean, he literally just had to sit there and watch Tom Brady play. Like that's really what happened, but. No, it was both of them, and I'm always going to say that. I mean, it's weird. Like, it's like, oh, Bill Belichick should, like, he couldn't really do anything too much. But honestly, like, he did pretty good with, like, the roster after Tom Brady. I mean, obviously, we didn't go to, like, a Super Bowl or anything, but, like, bringing in Cam Newton and, like, the mess, like, and we still had a pretty solid record, like, for the whole mess that was going on. I think that's pretty good coaching. And, again, you see Brady go to the Super Bowl, so they both had their share. They're both historic greats.
No, I will say this about Belichick. He's kept the Pats from absolutely falling into chaos. Like, but that's it. Like, it's like, I know we were able to have that playoff run with Mac Jones, but then right when you think things are going good, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We hire Matt Patricia. We, completely screw up the offense and probably set Mac back a year. Like he's probably less confident than when he came into the league,
for sure,
which for a third-year quarterback is ridiculous. So hopefully you can get things right with Bill O'Brien and fix that. But
that's a good hire.
I will say, like, it's been frustrating since, Brady's left and Bill's been kind of running the ship. I obviously respect Bill. He's the greatest coach of all time. And I'm hopeful that he can get out of this, but I don't know if he's going to want to do another rebuild. I don't know. Like, I think at this point, he might just be trying to catch Don Shula's record and then peace out.
I think that's what he's trying to do too.
I think so. Cause it's at that point, it's just going to be a longevity thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope that, we can get back to a competitive team next year and we can, at least put up a fight in the AFC, but I'm not going to lie to you, man. I see some of these quarterbacks. I mean, I saw Josh Allen in that last game of the season versus us threw that 60-yard TD bomb to Diggs flat-footed in the backfield. And I'm like, I look at that and I'm just like, how do we even compete with that? Like, I see that and it literally makes me just say like, all right, blow it up. We'll try again in 5 years.
Yeah, no,
it's just like, all right, we're just going to tank. We'll figure it out. And like, as much as I hate that as a fan, like eventually it's just like, it's too competitive. Like, I don't know how you can compete with it.
The AFC is loaded.
Yeah.
It's loaded.
Like, unless you have like a top tier talented guy like that, it's almost impossible to really, go up against that. Cause, not only are these guys like, just like, it's one thing to be like picked apart and like, it's like a bend, don't break mentality. And eventually like they get into the end zone. No, these guys are just embarrassing you. They have more speed than you. They're tougher than you. And you just cannot keep up with them. So unless there is a real kind of, switch and they can get into a new gear, I'm nervous about this team going forward.
Yeah, I mean, you even look in our own division. I mean, the Bills, obviously, they're good. I mean, their playoff success not good, but in the regular season, they dominate everyone. They have one of the best offenses, best defenses. Look at the Dolphins. The Dolphins are really good, too. If Tua stays healthy, which that's a whole other, like, thing. I don't know what they're going to do with Tua. I mean, dude's brain is probably gone at this point, but I mean, that's still a loaded team. And even to look at the Jets have a great young defense. And if they bring in Rodgers,
everyone is saying
crazy.
The Jets are a quarterback away. So whether it's Aaron Rodgers, whether they were to get a Lamar Jackson, even a Derek Carr, who I think that could I'm not really too certain on that, but just someone comparable in there. Someone basically who's not Zach Wilson.
Anybody who's not Zach Wilson.
Just not Zach Wilson, not someone who's that kind of a mentality. I think that the Jets could be really dangerous. And the problem with that is then there's only 4 teams in that AFC East division. And if I was to really look at them, you're the 4th best team in that division. Yeah. You're not better than any of those teams, especially if the Jets were to get someone like Rodgers. So
exactly.
It's definitely a scary situation going on. I'm a little bit nervous about the Pats moving forward, but one team that is very interesting to look at moving forward is the Denver Broncos. Yep. They've just made a really interesting coaching hire. They were able to entice Sean Payton out of retirement, and he will now be leading the charge, and trying to save that franchise right now because they were in a really tough spot last season. They gave up that monster haul to the Seahawks to get Russell Wilson, and that basically just blew up in their face. Russ, looked like he regressed like 5 years and, he looks basically washed at this point. And it's like, all right, like what the hell happened to this guy? And, Sean Payton, he was brought in there from New Orleans. I guess New Orleans is going to get a 2023 first round pick and then a 24 second rounder. And then, there might be a third round pick involved in there eventually in the future, but it's going to be a tough situation. I will say this, Denver's got a good defense. I think that they have good offensive, like a good scheme and offense to build around, especially guys like Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton. You can build around those guys moving forward, but do you think Peyton can fix Russ? Like that's really my question for you. Do you think he can fix him?
I honestly think he can. I mean, I didn't like Hackett at all. And like, if you watch the games, like especially all the Thursday night games, it was just pitiful to watch.
Like, oh my God.
They
kept getting Thursday night football games.
Like, why?
Like, oh my God.
It was so bad.
I got to say this. I talked about Al Michaels getting back on Sunday Night Football the other night. I felt so bad for him. I mean, he was just checked out. He was like in his pajamas, just like calling the games. And like, I was like half asleep. I mean, it was
terrible.
It was bad. And like, man, I'll tell you, like, on like Thursdays, like we were out at like the bars and stuff, and like they have the game on the TV, and it's just like, oh my God, the Broncos are getting murdered out there.
It was stupid. It was that Broncos Colts game, like that was one of the worst games I've ever seen.
Oh my God,
it was so bad. But no, I honestly think like Sean Payton, he had that great consistency. He had Drew Brees his whole career,
Mhm.
and Drew Brees just ran the offense. And the Saints always had a good defense. So the
Mhm.
Broncos, he's already coming into a team with a really good defense. That was the one thing. The
Yeah.
Broncos were a great defense. There's actually a fun fact that if the Broncos actually scored like more than like 16 points every single game, they would have been like 10-7 or something. Like that's all they had to do is score 16 points. The defense was fantastic. Their offense was just pitiful. But I feel like that's something Peyton can do. Peyton can change. And I mean, again, the talent is there, the weapons are there. Make a couple of offseason moves. You get Javonte Williams back, and you just got to get Russ's confidence back because he was a
Yeah.
great leader. I mean, you've seen what Russ has done in his career. All of a sudden, like that's just crazy. Such a fall off. Like I feel like Peyton's going to come in, do a
I
good
mean, 2
job.
years ago, he was an MVP candidate.
Oh yeah, like a huge MVP candidate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you also have again the most loaded division. You have the Raiders, who they're losing Carr, but I mean, hopefully they bring in someone good at quarterback because that's still a really good team.
Absolutely.
Chargers are a good team, and then you have the Chiefs who are in the Super Bowl right now, and they're going to be a dynasty forever. So
Yeah.
you got to hope that this Peyton signing works or this. So
I mean,
I think it
this,
will.
in my opinion, this was the only thing they could have done.
Oh, I agree.
I don't see another, like you could have brought in that defensive guy from San Francisco.
D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah, you could have brought in someone like that and like, typical coordinator promotion and try to see how it works.
Yeah.
But you did that with Nathaniel Hackett. From what I can tell,
That did not work.
Yeah, well, that and also Hackett wasn't really involved with play calling too much.
Yeah.
And when he finally got his chance in Denver, it blew up in his face.
Yep.
Not only does Sean Payton have that consistency with Drew Brees, he was also able to save oh shoot, why am I blanking on the name? Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why.
Turned his
Yeah, I don't know why I blanked on the name for a second, but Jameis Winston was completely, revived by Sean Payton. We obviously remember the meme in Tampa before Brady got there.
Yeah.
He was the 30-30 guy, 30 touchdowns, 30 picks. And
bad.
Yeah, and Sean Payton went to him and he was able to kind of fix him. And now he's a pretty comparable quarterback, kind of a game manager type, but he's consistent now.
Yeah, no, that was the perfect hiring. Again, literally by like week 2, everyone was saying get Nathaniel Hackett out of there. And like that's a problem. If you're already talking about firing a coach week 2. So really what you have to do is they didn't really need a lot on their roster wise.
No.
It was just the coach, and they went to the biggest splash. Sean Payton has been rumored to come out of retirement all season long, and they went and got it. I think that's a fantastic job by the Broncos. I mean, there's nothing else they can do. Just hope it works.
Yeah. I mean, I think that like realistically, if you can just I would look at the situation with Nathaniel Hackett similar to how Doug Peterson fixed the Jacksonville Jaguars after Urban Meyer.
Oh yeah.
Peterson went in there and he basically said he had to start from scratch, and that there were just a lot of people that just were hurt from the way that they were treated with that team. And he went in. Yeah. And he went in, he was like, you know what, guys, let's start over. Let's, try to start from scratch. And a lot of guys were able to be like, all right, I'll listen to you. And, they were able to, have a very good season this year. So I think Sean Payton can do that. I think he will be able to rally the troops. And, if he's behind Russ and can get them back on track, I think the Broncos could be in the mix next year.
I know. I hope they are. I mean, they have a good roster. I mean, a lot of those guys, you saw them getting into fights with each other halfway through the season. They have heart. They want to play. They want to win. I mean, everyone in the NFL wants to win.
And it's the fact that they know they have more potential than they showed.
Exactly. They know that.
So they know that they weren't showing what they could do, and that's what was really pissing them off. So I'd like to see them back in it next year, and I think that Russell Wilson, him in the playoffs, it's always a good thing to see. That's what I have on that beat. But I want to switch things over to obviously the 2 championship games that happened this past Sunday. Not gonna lie to you, I was kind of bored in that first one with Philly, but the second game with Kansas City was pretty
that was something.
Yeah, it was pretty chock full of excitement. Pat Mahomes and Joe Burrow battling it out once again to decide who goes to the Super Bowl. This time KC gets the upper hand. Not gonna lie, Pat Mahomes, for going out there battling that high ankle sprain, basically unable to beat Patrick Mahomes for most of the game. And he was able to outduel Joe Burrow in that contest. So credit to him for being able to do that. I was disappointed though, however, by the end of that game with that call on Joseph Osai. Late hit out of bounds. Mahomes, wasn't scrambling around all day. Like I said, he decided, all right, this is the play. I got to go for it. And, he made that great, scramble to the sideline. I understand it was a late hit out of bounds, but sometimes I feel like the refs, you just got to keep your whistle in your pocket like that. Like I get calling that, but it's just really unfortunate that that play right there decides who goes to the Super Bowl.
I know.
I don't know. It just feels like you were kind of robbed of something there. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
There was a lot of plays. I mean, the biggest thing that's been this week is
and here's the thing, it's not just one play. I do understand that, but yeah.
No, like I've been saying this for like years and years. And I mean, if you think about it, the NFL, it's officially classified as an entertainment business.
Yes.
So that means realistically they could make it whatever they want. So the big thing this week is it's really blowing up is the NFL scripted.
Oh,
and
this has been
it's a huge
everywhere,
thing.
man.
It's a huge thing. And I mean, low key, I feel like there is some parts that are. I mean, at the end of the day, like Patrick Mahomes is throwing it to Kelsey in the end zone for 60 yards. It's really hard to like script him catching it. Like, like there's still parts that has to happen. But I think there's some things you can control. And me as a ref, like I'm a soccer ref, and I'm not gonna say I've rigged games before, but I'm saying like if I wanted to,
Ethan's rigged games before. Ethan has rigged games before.
Only little kid games. No, but like you legitimately can. Like it's you have a lot of power as a ref, and some refs they abuse their power. Some refs do it fair, but no, I mean like that redo play they did and everything that was whack. Like there was just a lot of things that seemed very shady. So
yeah, and it wasn't even like they were like hiding it too. It was just very out in the open, and I was like, "What is going on here?"
Everybody knew.
Yeah, like I'm not like I know Arian Foster just like did that whole media tour where he was saying like, oh, I was handed a script every week. I'm not saying that like that these guys are acting out like the game like it's Hamlet here.
Yeah,
like I'm
exactly.
not
not like that.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's like a school play, but I do think that there are. I mean, we saw the whole thing with Tim Donaghy in the NBA. If you don't want to tell me that that's not possible in the NFL, you're full of it.
Exactly. No, I mean, literally, if you look at that,
it's
the Celtics Lakers game a week ago.
Yeah.
When Tatum got fouled, like end of the game, and LeBron's like, obviously, you saw him like crying around and everything. But honestly, like he's frustrated. I mean, it was a clear and obvious foul, and nothing happened from it, and that's huge. I mean, the Lakers are fighting for a spot like really hard. They're like the 10 seed or something in the West. That's very competitive. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating to all these players. Like these guys work day in, day out. I mean, this is also like not just some like pickup league. Like they're getting paid millions of dollars. Like their careers on the line. So I don't know. I do feel like there's some part that's scripted, and like again, easily if you wanted to as a ref, you could have made that a no call. Now I don't know. I guess it's
but here's the thing though. I might have also said it was a bad no call. So it's like
exactly
like any other point in the game, it would have been a no-brainer. All right, it's a hit out of bounds on a quarterback, star guy in Pat Mahomes. You got to make that call. And it's just like, I just don't know if that call is made 20 years ago.
Definitely not.
Like that's the thing. Like if that play happened 20 years ago, are they making that call? And that's the part that's frustrating is just like, all right, like you can tell that there's a difference in how they're treating these guys.
Yeah.
And obviously you want to treat Pat Mahomes well, not only just because he's hurt, but the fact that he's a future star in this league.
He's like the face of the league.
Not future star. He's a star of the league.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I understand the fact that you got to protect him, but it's unfortunate that like, since he's run, could have just like everyone is just going to put all this blame on Joseph Osai. And it's ridiculous, man. Like I saw his like teammates, like I don't know if you saw that video on Sports Center.
In the locker room, right?
Yeah, they were like
going off.
Yeah, they were like chewing him out, like doing all this stuff. All like the Bengals fans and people on Twitter were like making fun of him, like saying like how they hate him. And I'm like,
yeah, that's awful.
He had one of the better games on defense for you guys up until that play.
He was the best player in defense the whole game.
No one else on defense for the Bengals showed up that game, and he was killing out there. And the fact that, all right, yeah, I'm chasing after the quarterback. I've been making plays all day. Who knows what Pat Mahomes is going to do? Because he's always known to do some crazy stuff. Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna like make sure he stays out of bounds. So like, I can understand the play there. Like he's also like what, 22 years old?
Yeah, he's very young.
Like what are you gonna do there? Like he's a kid. He's my age.
Literally, yeah.
Like what are you gonna do? It's insane.
The sports media is just so rough nowadays. Like you make one bad play and you're on the face of every meme for next year. It's tough.
Man, it really is tough. And I will probably talk about this in just a second, but man, I do have to say before we do transition into the Eagles and all that stuff, credit to the Chiefs for being able to do what they did after the Tyreek Hill trade.
Oh yeah.
The fact that the Chiefs got rid of Tyreek Hill and everyone was saying like, oh, they're going to kind of come back down to earth this year. And instead they actually break all the NFL passing records.
Oh yeah.
So, it's incredible what they're able to do out there. I'm happy that, Pat Mahomes is really doing what he's doing. I think that, he's a pretty likable guy. I don't really have any issues with him. Obviously there are things with his wife and his brother that I'm not too fond of, but he seems like a good guy. And if that's the future face of the NFL for the next 10, 15 years, I'm okay with that.
And I think it will. I mean, they're already a dynasty. You look at Patrick Mahomes, his first season, he didn't get to play. So I don't really count that. His first actual season starting, he went to the AFC Championship. And the past 5 years of him starting, he has been to the AFC Championship, made the Super Bowl 3 out of 5 times. I mean, honestly, he's on pace to maybe be the greatest player of all time, passing Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Like, he has potential to do it.
I will say this, though. It's going to be really hard to get past, 4 or 5 Super Bowls. Because listen, I was listening to ESPN and they said for the longest time, the barrier for Super Bowl championships, it was always 4. That was the barrier. It was Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw. And then when Tom Brady got 4, it was like, oh boy, like that's an exclusive club to be in. And when Brady got his 5th, that famous Joe Buck call, it changed things. And it was like, all right, like 5 is now like an attainable thing. And when he got it at the time, it was like, wow, like Brady's alone on the mountain. Like he's the only quarterback that's ever gotten 5. And then when he got 6, he passed some other guy. He passed Bart Starr for total championships with 6. And it was like, okay, wow. And then the 7th was just like the cherry on top of the whole thing. Right, I made a post originally about Brady retiring, and I said 6-time Super Bowl champion because partially the Tampa stuff is blocked out, but it's also just like hard to remember, like, oh, he won all of those Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really crazy. It's ridiculous.
But I think if anyone can do it, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. And I think it starts with this year. And I mean, if they get a Super Bowl win this year, it's his 2nd Super Bowl and it's only his 5th season. Yeah, but a really good pace.
Listen, I think Mahomes can do it, but Andy Reid's old though.
That is true.
Andy Reid, like, here's the thing. It was, people talked about Brady and Belichick.
Yeah,
right now it's Mahomes and Reid. And obviously I think that in terms of total talent, Mahomes has more than Brady did and can definitely, create more than Tom Brady ever could. But if he doesn't have the scheme that Andy Reid does, and Andy Reid is a huge part of that offense, if he doesn't have that, how successful is he going to be? I'm assuming he'll still have a Hall of Fame career based on the way that he's playing, but it's still tough to see.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, how long do you think Andy Reid has left? I mean, 5 years, 10 years more?
I think he's at least got another 5 in him. I mean, how old is he exactly?
I'm not sure. I think he's in his late 60s, like 68, something like that. But I think he wants to stay winning with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he loves it right now. I mean, Andy Reid he loves it every single day. He loves winning these games. And I mean, who doesn't love winning? I mean,
sure.
You're feeling this feeling every single. That's why Belichick still does it too. I mean, he still knows he can win games and he's going to want to go out and win games for his team. But I don't know. I think Mahomes, maybe regardless, he might be bulletproof too. I mean, again, Tom Brady went with Bruce Arians. Like, that's a random coach to go to, and he still won a Super Bowl. So I don't know. I'm not like some Mahomes like fanboy, but I'm just gonna start respecting greatness before it's too late.
No, man. I mean, it's fair. So I do want to go on now into the second game that we had this past week, and this one was more of a dud. That was the San Francisco 49ers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And you know what, man, I'm not going to lie. I was pretty disappointed by the game. I was really excited going into it. Are we finally going to see a rookie quarterback advance to the Super Bowl for the first time in history? And, lo and behold, it kind of got robbed from us when Brock Purdy tore his UCL. Was a really tough play. It really was. I mean, you had I forget who came over the outside.
Reddick.
Yeah.
Hassan Reddick.
Yep. It was Hassan Reddick. Came over the outside, took him out. And, that was pretty, as soon as that happened, I was like, all right, that's game. If he can't come back in,
yeah, it's over.
I just was like, it's not even going to be a competition at this point. So, for a lot of people that I saw a lot of people on Twitter afterwards saying like, oh, like Bryce Harper hit a home run with a torn UCL and like all these guys have competed with a torn UCL. And I'm like, okay, but that's one thing. Throwing a ball with a torn UCL
is way different.
It's
honestly.
So not only is it incredibly difficult, even if you can do it, it is excruciatingly uncomfortable and painful to do. I talked with actually you probably know this guy, Sean Burke. Yeah. Went to St. John's, as in the minor leagues for the White Sox right now. He told me about when he tore his UCL. He actually was able to finish a game pitching with it. Yeah. Well, not a game, but at least the inning. He told me, I felt the pop in my arm, and I was like, all right, I got one more pitch in me. He struck out the guy and he walked off the field and he was like, I'm done.
And then you're done. No,
Yeah.
but that happens a lot. I mean, there's a lot of guys who like tear their ACL and then don't
UCL.
realize it.
The
No, like
UCL.
even the ACL
Oh,
too. Like,
yeah.
they'll tear it and they'll realize it not even until after the game. They'll be running on it still. And then after the game, they're like, yeah, there's no way I'm moving for another like year. So it just happens. I mean, honestly, we don't know. Purdy, honestly, he probably was on the sideline saying, like, get me in. I don't want to let my team down. And Shanahan's like, yeah, we can't. Like, I'm sorry.
Well, it wasn't that. No, Purdy was on the sideline. He literally said to Shanahan, he just said, man, I can't throw. He said, I can't throw the ball. And at that point, if you're a quarterback who can't throw, you're useless.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like that's the case.
I don't know.
And
is he better than Johnson though? I mean, Johnson was just horrible. I'd rather Purdy on like one arm.
This is not hate on Josh Johnson, but if you're a team in the NFL, I don't know how you can still be picking him up.
No.
He has to just be really good at like reading the playbook and being
something like that. Yeah.
Like it has to be like one of those things. It's like a Brian Hoyer type of situation.
Yeah.
But like I don't see where, as soon as Josh Johnson went in the game, I was like, okay, this thing's finished.
Game's over. Yeah.
And then to top it all off, if the 49ers couldn't get lucky enough, Johnson gets concussed and gets taken out of the game. And it was just like, oh boy, like what are they going to do now? And they were saying like, oh, Christian McCaffrey might have to be
when you're talking about Christian McCaffrey as your QB in a championship game, like that sucks.
Like, I mean, you want like, we were talking about like scripted moments, like that was some of the most Mickey Mouse stuff I've ever seen. I was like, if Christian McCaffrey or if Kyle Juszczyk has to become like the quarterback for this team, that's going to be so ridiculous, man.
Yeah, no, that's unreal. But I mean, Brock Purdy did come back in the game, but it was long over at that point. I mean,
oh yeah. And again, he couldn't throw. He threw that one screen pass on third down because he was forced to.
Yeah, he had to.
Yeah, like what was funny? I saw a tweet. It was from Tony Maserati. He said once Purdy came back in, they were doing like all these screen passes and these run plays. He ended up saying the 49ers are currently running the Patriots offense, literally. But they're doing it because they're out of quarterbacks and we were doing it with our first stringer. So
that's a problem.
That's
actually a problem.
I found that to be kind of funny there, but it was a really bad break for San Francisco. I favored them.
I did too
in this game. I just thought their defense was electric, and I really thought I will say this. I did kind of have the Eagles with a little bit of an edge because of Brock Purdy being a rookie, but I was like, if they can figure the rest of that out, they'll take care of business. And when you have all those things go wrong, like not only did that go wrong, but then like Nick Bosa got like taken out on the sideline on a play that he wasn't even in the game.
The defense honestly had so many penalties too. Like they had like 10 penalties for like 200 yards, something like that. It was crazy. Like I don't know. I mean, obviously the defense is on the field the whole game, so there's not a lot you can do at that point. But
yeah, like I was watching the game and like I don't know, I just had like a bad vibe the whole game. It felt like just like something was like bound to go wrong, and obviously the Purdy injury happens, and I'm like, this is just like a weird day, and it just continually just got worse for them. But as much as I hate to say it, congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. You're going back to the Super Bowl. It's going to be interesting. I mean, I will say this. Of the two teams that were, of the four teams that, were in the Super Bowl, that were in the championship mix and could have gone to the Super Bowl, this is the least likable matchup that I wanted.
Yeah.
Frankly, I would have much rather had Joe Burrow. I would have much rather had, exactly. It would have been a cooler story. But meanwhile, we're stuck with, it's probably two of the most obnoxious fan bases in sports. We're stuck with the Chiefs. We're stuck with the Eagles. So, Ethan, it makes me want to ask you, who do you have in this game, or who do you want to win?
So,
because that's a different thing. Maybe not who do you have, who do you want to win this game? Because
again,
these are two very unlikable franchises right now. So if you had to pick, who is that team that you want?
So obviously as a Pats fan, I do not like the Eagles. I mean, they really tore my heart out. I mean, I'm honestly a fan of Nick Sirianni though. He's a really likable coach. Like he's awesome. I mean, I don't really have anything against the Eagles players, but I don't know. It's just, again, as a Boston fan, you can't root for Philly in anything. You just can't do that. I don't mind the team, but again, talking about Patrick Mahomes, I'm really not that much of a fan, but I kind of just want to see like his dynasty expand. And I think I have the Chiefs win. Oh, I don't think I got the Chiefs winning. I think that this is a great step for the Eagles. They had a great season. Nick Sirianni, this is a great year for him. Eagles are going to be back here, but I think this is just the Chiefs game to lose. And I think Patrick Mahomes wins Super Bowl MVP too.
So I will say this. I never thought I would because for the most part, I've agreed with you. I would say that, it would be really cool to see Pat Mahomes win that second Super Bowl. It would then get kind of interesting because then he would, it would be like, all right, like, where does Pat Mahomes rank in terms of legacy when you compare him to Aaron Rodgers, who only has one ring?
Yeah.
And I think it'd be a very interesting conversation to then have. But I will say this, at least when Philadelphia won the Super Bowl, they just burned down their city. The last time the Chiefs won a Super Bowl, the world shut down because of COVID. So if I have to pick the lesser of two evils here, Ethan, I would much rather have Philly continue on and win the Super Bowl.
City.
Yeah. And you know what? The city of Philadelphia, man, they had a good run. Other than that, man, the rest can kind of go to hell. I will just say this. I don't want to have another situation with, another world outbreak, anything crazy going on. I mean, man, like, we're seeing like weather balloons flying over the United States right now from other countries. Like, I don't want to see anything, crazy happen. And I feel like that could happen if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl.
Oh.
So, go Philly, I guess, because I would much rather just see your pathetic city turn to ruin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm behind that too, but maybe this will be a turn of cards. Maybe it'll be different.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens here, but I do agree. Like this is going to be a very interesting game. I hope that it can be more interesting than this past weekend was. So I am excited for that going forward. But Ethan, before we do depart tonight, I have one more bit of news I want to discuss with you, and it is actually in NBA news. So we're going to transition over to that real quick. And it is the fact that, resident a-hole Kyrie Irving is going to be requesting a trade from the Brooklyn Nets. He's done it before, and now he wants to be traded ahead of the NBA trade deadline, which is next Thursday. Yep. I don't know. Like at this point, like, do you think there is a franchise out there that's desperate enough to say, yeah, we're willing to take that. We're willing to take a flyer on Kyrie Irving?
I like this. He is probably one of the weirdest sports players I've ever seen. Like just far in, far out. I think the Lakers take a chance. It's been rumored for like a few years now. I mean, originally people thought he was going there. Sure. Last year when he requested a trade, people thought he was going there. I think honestly, for real, the Lakers go and they get him. I mean, this is a team that needs to just take a jump. They had LeBron and AD. They won the championship. It was all flowers and roses. And then with the Lakers, it's just been a shit show. It's been bad. And I think they need to just take that risk and bring in Kyrie Irving, Kyrie, LeBron, AD. I mean, that's a pretty good roster. I mean, I also saw the Lakers were talking with the Jazz about trading Russell Westbrook. So that would be kind of crazy if they end up trading him, bringing in Kyrie. But honestly, like, it's so hard. Like, why would you want Kyrie on your team? Mm-hmm. Like, I saw the Mavs were interested. The Suns were interested. I feel like that's just going to ruin everything for them. And you also look at where the Nets go from this. Yeah. Like, the Nets are literally a contending team right now. And you lose Kyrie. KD's out right now. And KD's weird too. Yeah. So what do the Nets do after this too?
I don't know, man. I mean, I really, I'll say this. Kyrie Irving's just one of those guys where I really hope it just doesn't work out. Like I will say that because, he came to Boston. He ended up saying, man, I'm going to re-sign with this team this offseason. Yeah, I'm going to be a Celtic for life. And, he spit right in your face. So I'm really not interested in Kyrie Irving right now. Frankly, I just see him as a cancer. Yeah. And I just don't, if you're an NBA franchise, I just don't see how in good faith you can be like, all right, this guy is going to, make us a better team moving forward. I understand the talent aspect of it all. Very good. Yeah, he's one of the best players in the league. You can't deny the talent, but at the end of the day, I feel like when you bring in Kyrie Irving, that in the end, it's going to end in disaster. Yeah. Like that's the thing. So if the Lakers just understand, all right, LeBron's going to be 40 soon. He's going to be gone. AD is going to want out in a little bit. And they're just saying, all right, this is our last chance at a championship. I get it. Because at that point, they understand that they're going to have to rebuild after that and retool and do whatever they're going to have to do. So unless it's a situation like that, I don't see a team that's going to want to bring in Kyrie Irving long-term. Just because I just see his social credibility is so far gone. I don't see where a team would say, yeah, let's sign you to a multi-year deal. Yeah, like I just can't see it.
I don't know.
And I think that any team that's willing to is stupid because he's going to do something that's going to keep him off the court. Obviously, he had the whole vaccine thing. He's done just a lot of other stupid stuff that's just kept him off the floor.
And it's a business too. So like, that'd be a bad business move. Like as a player, great. Sure. I want him on my team, but it's a business too at the same time.
If if the actual NBA was like the video game NBA 2K,
and send everybody,
and you're just getting the player and that's it, and you don't have to worry about any of the off the field crap. Sure, any day of the week I'll do that, but not right now.
Yeah, no,
it's too much. So, I'm wondering what'll happen. I mean, the Nets didn't budge on it the last time they talked. The last time Kyrie was saying this stuff, so. Maybe the Nets stay strong on it. They tried to talk to Kyrie and they figure some of this stuff out. But it's been a very interesting time in the NBA. Jason Tatum, for the Celtics is obviously taken over. He's, far and well ahead in that MVP conversation. He's doing really good for us right now. The Celtics, they went through a bit of a rough patch, but they're kind of coming out of it now. So before we do go, how do you feel about them moving forward?
Oh, I feel fantastic. I mean, this is a great year. I mean, the Celtics have been in contention for a few years now. I mean, honestly, since Jason Tatum's been playing for us. Yeah. And obviously we got to run through LeBron every single year. And I mean, again, he's one of the greatest players of all time. He's about to pass Kareem this week.
Yeah, actually,
that's insane.
That's a good point to make. I mean, what do you think about that? That for a while, it just seemed like one of the most unattainable records.
Yeah, it seemed literally impossible.
Yeah, it's similar to Wayne Gretzky's goals record. Yeah. Now Alex Ovechkin's possibly gonna make a bid at that. So some of these untouchable records are becoming more and more attainable now. Yep. So LeBron's, it's not a matter of if, it's now just when. Yeah. It's is he gonna drop 60 and get it tonight? Like who knows? But he's gonna get it within the next week.
I think it's also crazy too because he's also fourth in assists all time. Mm-hmm. You think someone who's first in scoring of all time is going to be top 5 in assists, even like anywhere in the assist chart? Yeah, that's insane to me. Like I don't know. I mean, obviously, like people have their things about LeBron, but at the end of the day, he's one of the best players to ever play.
Yeah, I mean, no. Here's the thing. Like there are some players that people try to talk up their talent, and I'll tear him down. Like take a guy like Ben Simmons, like where I frankly just don't believe he has legitimate talent. I really don't. I'm just like, if he's not willing to put in the effort to learn how to shoot, he shouldn't be like, I wouldn't, I just don't like the guy for that. But with LeBron, he's, for the most part off the court, he hasn't really had any true, scandals. He hasn't ever been in a bad situation. He seems to have a good family life. So, he does have that. And he has the championships. He does have all that. So I mean, credit to him where it's due. But it will be a historic moment when he passes him. I still give Michael Jordan the top seed in the GOAT debate, but this will be something that people can talk about. Was LeBron was able to become the highest scoring player in league history. Yeah. Do you think that influences the GOAT debate a little bit more? Would that change your opinion, or where do you stand?
I mean, this could be a whole other debate for another day, but I've been a LeBron fan since 2012, which is crazy because I'm a Celtics fan. So it's been really tough. Yeah, it's been really tough, but I fell in love with LeBron. I don't know. Don't even ask me. But so I was always riding on him the whole time, but yeah, sure. I don't know. He's just been he was the best player I ever saw play basketball. And I mean, again, I didn't get to experience Michael Jordan, but I mean, I look at stats a lot too, but again, he's 38. And we were talking about Tom Brady earlier at 46. This guy can still keep playing. LeBron's doing this stuff at 38. And honestly, he's having an MVP season this year. And he's about to pass the scoring record. That's just insane to me. I don't know, when's LeBron going to stop playing? He can play till he's 45 too. So sure, he's definitely up. I mean, it's honestly, it's him and Michael Jordan. They're up there. And I got Wilt Chamberlain up there too. He has some crazy unbeatable records. But I don't know. LeBron just keeps climbing up, keeps beating records. The same thing as Tom Brady's doing. But I mean, right now it's the Celtics league. I don't even care. Yeah, the Celtics are winning it all this year. That's all I know. Yeah, this is their year.
I really hope so, man. I mean, I think this is going to be their best shot. So hopefully they can take care of business and really get that this year.
MVP too.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. So, Ethan, thank you again for stopping in on the show. But we are now down to the wire, which means that we're going to wrap up what we talked about and send you guys on your way into the weekend. Ethan, we welcome him on to the show. We talked about Tom Brady's retirement, Sean Payton to the Broncos, Kansas City and Philadelphia heading to Super Bowl 57. And we ended things with Kyrie Irving requesting a trade from the Brooklyn Nets. Episode chock full of stuff today. So, was glad to talk with you about that. I will say before we go, if you're not following Down to the Wire, make sure you go follow us on our streaming platforms, whether that's Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. We're available on YouTube, and then you can find us on Instagram at down.to-the-wire. So go over there, find us, subscribe, follow, do what you got to do. Ethan, is there anything you want to shout out as well?
I mean, I appreciate you having me on the show. It's been great. I mean, this is a really fun week of sports. I mean, you have the Super Bowl, and then you have some records getting beat. So stay tuned. I mean, playoffs are coming soon as well. All-star games coming up. So this is a fun time to be a sports fan.
Absolutely, man. All right. We will send you guys on your way back onto the airwaves at WJMF Radio. From Down to the Wire, I'm Brian Costa.
I'm Ethan Moulder.
And we hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Take care and peace out.